September 18th, 2025. We'll turn it over to our Madam Clerks for a roll call vote.
Okay, thank you. Note Chair Klein Lopez is present.
Thank you.
I don't see Committee Member Maloney on just yet. Committee Member Gold?
I'm here.
Thank you. Committee Member Santangelo will be absent today. Committee Member Hicks?
Present.
Committee Member Campbell?
Yes, here.
Committee Member Crosswhite?
Here.
Committee Member Parkhurst?
Present.
Okay, and Vice Chair Lopez will be joining us soon, as well as Committee Member Montero, but we do have a quorum.
Okay, fantastic. Next, we will move to general public comment. Nothing here in Agora Hills. Do we have public comment in any of our other locations?
I don't see any public comment requests anywhere else.
All right, then we will move on to our consent agenda, which is just the minutes from our last meeting. So unless someone wants to pull it, discuss it, or change it, I will call for a motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Committee Member Hicks and a second by Committee Member Parkhurst to approve the consent agenda. Chair Klein Lopez, how do you vote?
Aye.
Committee Member Maloney? Committee Member Gold?
Yes.
Committee Member Hicks?
Yes.
Committee Member Campbell?
Yes.
Committee Member Crosswhite?
Yes.
Committee Member Parkhurst?
Aye.
Thank you. This motion passes.
Fantastic. We'll move on to our next agenda item, which is a staff report, oral update from our our CEO, Ted Bardacke.
Thank you, Deborah, and thanks everyone for your time today. I have a relatively short update today. We're going to all be together next week for the board retreat. Materials will be going out tomorrow. The agenda is pretty much the same. The only item of note was that a big persona in California's energy history, Bob Weisenmiller, who was Jerry Brown's 4-term chair of the Energy Commission under both Jerry Browns, passed away a few weeks ago. And therefore, Mary Nichols, who was going to be our lunchtime speaker, has to go to San Francisco to speak at his funeral. I have succeeded in getting the current vice chair of the California Energy Commission, Siva Gunda, to fly down and take her place. So he's a very smart, honest, forthright guy, quoted in the New York Times just 2 days ago, and is the point person on many of the tough issues that California faces, including system reliability and oil refining capacity. So we look forward to having him, though we will miss Mary. Other than that, you'll see updated and revised materials going out tomorrow. Two quick acknowledgements. One, I just want to acknowledge the Energy Committee as a whole, but Robert in particular, for the tremendous amount of work this past summer and early into the fall. That committee and/or review teams or subcommittees have met pretty much every week for the past 6 or 7 weeks, getting us ready for the SunZia incremental contract, for an innovation solicitation that we're continuing to pursue, power share contracts that hopefully will bring some agrovoltaics to Ventura County. And just last week and next week, the big RFO for our annual purchasing. So a lot of work by that committee, and Robert, thank you for being a good steward there.
It's very kind. Thank you so much, Ted.
Thank you, Robert.
The other thing I will note, and Rita, I don't know if Aaron is in the room there.
He had to step out.
Okay, no problem. Some of you, many of you may know Aaron Ordauer, who is Supervisor Horvath's environmental policy deputy, and someone with whom we collaborate quite a bit. He and I and Rita are on Teams or email every other day, it seems. The county is a big partner of ours, obviously, largest load. The county itself is one of our largest customers, and the county's got a lot of ambitious sustainability plans. So I'm just pleased to let you all know that Aaron was appointed by the board of the LA County Board of Supervisors to be the second alternate to CPA. Rita is the first alternate to Supervisor Horvath, and it just makes sure that we're going to have some continued close collaboration with LA County. So he was going to maybe be in the room today, but it looks like he had to step out. But just wanted to welcome Aaron, not to the family, but to have this formal position as an alternate board member. And both Rita and Aaron will be at the board retreat.
Nice.
That's all I've got for the oral update. I can answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions? Great. Well, thank you, Robert, for all of your extra time. It's already a lot of time, so thank you for the extra time, and welcome to Aaron, who is no stranger to the boardroom. So great news. Okay, I will move on to agenda item 3, which is our draft agenda. We'll review our draft agenda for the October 16th meeting, and so I will kick it back to you, Ted.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So for consent agenda, we're gearing up for the next tranche of prepay bonds. As you recall, we've issued about 5.9 billion in bonds over the last couple of years. We did a tranche of a couple in the first tranche was 2 bonds. The next tranche of 3 was over the last 18 months or so. We have achieved not only record savings in the prepay market, but generally higher savings than the other CCAs. And part of that is, the strength, but also, the additional flexibility we brought in terms of bond sizing and timing by asking the board to approve the last time up to 2.5 billion and 3 bonds. So we're gearing up for the next set. This will be a subject of the finance committee meeting next week. But the first step is to get the board to approve our advisors, contractors in this, which is MCM, who's worked with us on the previous 5, and Chapman and Cutler, the legal advisors who have also worked with us. We're getting the team back together with your approval. So that would come, and then just a preview, we would come back in November with the bond program for the board's review and hopefully approval. We'll cover the sort of the whole program plan in more detail, obviously with the finance committee next week, but with you at the executive committee meeting on the 23rd, as well as the October finance committee meeting. The next item on consent is a small creative services contract to continuing the good marketing that's going on. I've heard several people seen our TV ads now. Got excited about that. If you're a TV watcher, not sure. Another thing that we perhaps we'll get on in time for October, but I'm not yet sure, is workforce development MOU for Ventura County. As you recall, we've been sponsoring service providers in the multi-craft core curriculum, which is the pre-apprenticeship training program for 2 service providers in LA County, Flint Ridge, which works with formerly incarcerated and folks emerging from the foster care system, and Winter, which is women in non-traditional employment roles. Deborah and I had the opportunity to go to the graduation of the first cohort of 10 women who are now in the building trades. I have to say it brought me to tears. So we are looking to do something similar in Ventura. It's taken a little while, as Supervisor Lopez knows. There isn't necessarily the existing infrastructure that we would like to be able to tap in, but it's forming, and with the help of Supervisor Lopez and some folks in the building trades and workforce development board and community college system, it looks like we're going to be able to put something together out there. Again, not sure it's going to be ready for October, but hopefully by November or December. That's the extent of the main items for consent. Maybe I'll stop there and see if there are any questions or comments on any of those items before I move on to the regular agenda.
Thank you, Ted.
Oh,
See lots of applause going around, but
all right.
any questions?
I have a question, Madam Chair. This is Alex.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Ted, question about the bond. Are we going to put more bond on the market, or we are selling them? Or
Yeah. So we've done about 5.9 billion in 5 bonds. We think we have a capacity to do somewhere between 4 and 4.5 billion more. Some of the market, as you might imagine, is a little more volatile right now. And so some of the strategic questions that we're trying to sort out are, how many bonds? Sometimes you can get higher savings with a smaller bond. How to get to that 4 to 4.5 billion number? But yes, we do, anticipate doing a number of new issuances over the next couple of years, and are in that planning work.
all right, thank you. The other thing I just want to mention is I heard the advertisements on the National Park Radio, the KCRW. So it's fantastic. I love it every time I heard. Thank you.
Oh, that's
That's
great.
it, Madam Chair.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for Ted or comments on consent? All right, then we move to the regular agenda items.
Okay, so we will be requesting a contract amendment for the Power Ready program, which we'll do a presentation on the next item on the agenda. The other main item will be an info item to talk about the implementation of the base service charge, which we used to be called the income graduated fixed charge. If you remember, that was a big, hot legislative item and then PUC item a couple of years ago. And now it's going to show up on people's bills in mid-November. And there's a description in your packet about what it is, how much. Because it's all on the delivery side, it won't impact our rate comparisons or our rates. However, as everybody knows, when anything ever changes, our board members are asked questions, sometimes blamed, and so we want to make sure that folks are ready. So we'll do a little presentation on that. The other thing is that it does sort of key into the broader debate that's happening in California right now about is the old style of energy efficiency, which is just use less energy at all times of the day, the right strategy, or do we want to try to help people who use more electricity and or shift their consumption to a different time of the day. So this, for high users of electricity, their bills will go down. And so we're talking about people who, people in Bakersfield, for sure, but also people here on the coast or in more moderate climates who choose to buy electric cars or to install electric heat pumps or electric heat pump or water heaters. So we'll dive into that discussion a little bit.
Do you have
yes, Robert.
Question?
Yeah, so I appreciate the presentation and for us board members being able to answer those questions. It's always very helpful. I assume that the call centers will also have all the information because that will be one of the first places that people may go.
Yes,
right.
Yeah, they'll know how to talk about it, and I think Edison has done a pretty good job of explaining the how and the why. They sent everybody an email or put it in their bill to the extent that people read that. But there's good official information out there as well.
Okay. All right.
So legislative roundup. I'm unsure if this is going to go on the agenda actually, because we're going to have Siva Gunda at the board retreat, as I mentioned, which may serve as a legislative roundup. But they landed lots of big jumbo jets in the energy space in California last weekend. Much, frankly, to my surprise. I thought I had my money on most of it collapsing, but they did pass the bill to move forward with regionalizing California's energy market. They did reauthorize cap and trade. They did replenish the wildfire fund, partly on the back of IOU shareholders, but partly on the back of ratepayers. They did limit cost recovery, not cost recovery, limit profit making by the IOUs on a certain level of wildfire prevention investments. which is, as we know, has been the main driver of the delivery rate side of things, and beginning to dip a toe into the public financing of transmission. Not we had hoped that there'd been a whole foot placed in that pool that would have helped us at least push forward maybe some of the ideas that'll be discussed at the retreat, but that's an incomplete. I'll give them an incomplete on that one. But a lot done, and we'll hear more about it again next week at the retreat. If there's any loose ends, we might include it in the management report. And then finally, still TBD is the TOU Smart pilot default rate. Given all of the feedback and us wanting to go back and take a hard look at all of that feedback and figure out what's the best path forward. I don't think this will make it on to October, though it might. I'll say one thing that we've been looking at, partly to some of the comments of folks who want to do this aren't actually going to save that much money, is to try to enhance the savings with very, very low rates, maybe even at zero during the middle of the day. So we need to do a bunch more research and study design to see if any of those other options or ideas make sense. So I guess I put it here not to have another discussion about it, to know you that we're still thinking about it, but we need to do some more work.
Great.
And that's what we've got.
Any questions about, other than Power Ready, any questions about the agenda? All right, I'm not seeing any. So then let's talk about.
Sorry, I was slow on that.
Okay, there you go, Robert.
So the TOU Smart, so it may not come back, but are you working with, well, I guess it goes into the implementation. So I may be a half step ahead of myself, but one of the strong feedbacks we got from a lot of people, and I think is consistent, is if you have a really attractive rate from the middle of the day, people will criticize, well, that only works for people that work from home, which is an upper middle income group of people. So are there, if you can, regardless of how we roll this out, are there ways that we can look to address lower income and people that don't have an EV at their home and work at home during the day?
Yeah.
I know that's 2 steps down the line, but it's something we're consistently hearing, and so it's something I'm trying to think through and wrestle with.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. Definitely if you see in the XCOM staff report, bullet point number 1 of things we're addressing is pilot participant selection, with all of those things, or many of those things that you just mentioned. So that's definitely top of mind. So the long answer and short answer is yes.
All right, any other questions? All right, then I think we're gearing up for a presentation on the Power Ready program.
Great. Well, Matt Langer's going to do this presentation. I see he's also near Wind Tie Runs, but his is sunny and
sunny
bright.
Day.
Sunny and bright. Maybe he's in a better mood than I am.
I'm always in a sunny and bright mood. Can you all hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay. Apologies in advance for any technical issues. I'm sitting in the Santa Rosa airport because some of us are doing a tour of the Geysers geothermal plant, and we're traveling in and get that tour tomorrow. I'm very excited for that. People have questions about that. Maybe when we see you next week, we can tell you about that. All right. Power ready. Let's jump right in. All right, so I'm sure most of you are pretty familiar with this Power Ready program. Is a community benefit program that we also use as member agencies to support.
You are cutting in and
Sites
out
and
for me, Matt.
communities.
You're cutting in and out a little bit for me.
Let me try some. Let me try something. Can you hear it or not? Is that any better?
Might be better. Say a few things.
Okay, I'll try this.
Yeah, why don't
I've
you
got a
try-
couple of different options here.
Okay.
If this doesn't work, I'll try something else. All right, so Power Ready. Power Ready is a community benefit program where we're providing backup power, so solar plus storage backup power systems at our member agency sites. And so the idea is that if there's ever a power outage, you site, it's a important site for the community, and then on a daily basis, it operates to optimize load and help the grid. The board approved the Power Ready PPAs in February of 2012. The developer for that is Coast Energy in partnership with a couple other parties. Those are 11 sites across 8 member agencies, totaling 1.15 megawatts of solar and 0.3 megawatts of battery. Also, at the same time, launched Power Ready Round 2 that started up in 2025. We're accepting interest from member agencies, and we've expanded that not just to the member agencies themselves, but if the member agency doesn't have an eligible site, we're asking other members of the. Wait, can you guys hear me still?
It's still
It's
wobbly, Matt.
It's
a little
still
choppy.
spotty.
All right. Sorry, I have a plan B. Let me try that. Actually, we're on plan B, so I'm going to try plan C. Give me a second.
Oh, now we've lost
No,
him.
now we lost him. Lindsay, do you want to pick this up?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
happy
wait,
to
he's back.
No, okay.
give him one more chance here, and then I can step in.
We're gonna let you go to plan C, Matt, if you can hear
Okay,
us. But
that worked.
after plan C, we might go to Lindsay.
Okay. Lindsay's always a good plan A too.
Yes,
Can you hear me now?
yes.
Yeah.
All right, great. All right. Apologies for that.
No, we
making
get
do.
it. We get it. Thanks
Okay.
for prioritizing this.
Sure. All right. So we're as I think where I left off was I was saying that we're accepting interest from not just member agencies this time, but if there's member agencies that don't have a viable site, we're also looking at other community sites from nonprofits, schools, other kinds of things, trying to expand the reach of the program to more communities. And we've had a lot of interest so far, so we're really excited about that. Next slide, please. All right, so this table shows the progress of each Power Ready Round 1 project. Some projects are advancing pretty far already. We've reached the notice to proceed, we've done interconnection applications, and we're getting close to submitting permits. But in other cases, we're lagging behind a little bit. So I won't walk through each one of these. I think this chart speaks for itself, but happy to take questions when we get to the Q&A part if anyone wants to know about any of the particular projects. All right, so let me talk a little bit about the Power Ready Round 1 challenges and this is important context for understanding why we're going to be talking about amendments to the contract. So again, as a refresher, the current projects are under a PPA delivery model, just like we do with our.
Can you advance the slide, please? Thank you.
The current projects are under a PPA delivery model, which is just like what we do for our large long-term contracts. So in the way that works is a developer owns and operates the solar and battery systems at each site, and CPA is just the purchaser of the energy from the system, and we control how it's dispatched and operated. To issue an RFO for the PPA, first we need to do a memorandum of understanding with the member agency. So we did all of that actually several years back at this point. Once we've collected all those MOUs, we can then put out the projects to bid as sort of a big batch. What happens after the PPA is executed is the developer then has to go back to the cities and negotiate a site lease agreement. Now, there was a form of site lease agreement that was included with the memorandum of understanding in the first place, but as is kind of common, people don't really focus their mind until it's time to actually sign. And so we've had a lot of extra time going through the site lease agreements between the developer and the different cities. And then, of course, each of the cities has to go through their decision-making process, which often means going to city council and a lot of different things. So that's taken a lot longer than we initially anticipated. So far we've executed site lease agreements, or I'm sorry, Coast has executed site lease agreements with member agencies for 7 of the projects, but 4 more of the projects are still under negotiation. And this has taken 7 to 16 months when I think we thought it would be more like a couple of months for that to get done. So as a result of those delays that we didn't quite plan for, the developer is no longer able to meet the guaranteed construction start dates and commercial operation dates. At the same time, as we've been delayed, a lot has changed in the world in the last year and a half, almost 2 years, and interest rates have gone up, labor costs have gone up, roofing costs, equipment costs have gone up. All these different issues are in play, and that's affected the overall economics, which is resulting in a price increase request. Next slide, please. All right. So I'll talk a little bit about the different requests that are going to be in this PPA amendment. I'll note that some of these details are still being ironed out, so this isn't precise. But since we have a few weeks until the board meeting, we're going to be working on all that. But this is sort of an outline of the major items that will be addressed in the amendment. So first, Coast is requesting a price increase in the range of 2.5% to 5% overall across all 11 sites. We also have milestone extensions. So again, the delays to the site lease agreements have meant that they waited longer to order long lead time equipment. Interconnection approvals are also taking longer than expected in some cases. And so we have extension requests that basically would result in guaranteed commercial operation dates in Q4 of 2026. But there's some hope anyway that some of the projects will be able to come on earlier. So they're not going to wait on all of them to come online at the same time. As they finish up and go through the different process, they'll bring those on as they're ready, hopefully sooner than that. Also, there's some provisions in the original contract related to roof repairs. And essentially there was a certain amount of cost that was expected in roof repairs, but if the actual cost came in above that, then there would be an option to come back to the table and talk about that. The developers let us know that they think that we're likely to trigger that additional price increase related to roof repairs. So that may be part of what we address in the amendment as well. Next slide, please. Okay. So talk about next steps at this point. So as I mentioned, we're still in the process of negotiating the amendments, but we expect to bring the amendment to the board in October. LA County and Beverly Hills are still working on their site lease agreements, and we're hoping that those are agreed to before the board meeting in October. If not, we won't be including those amendments for consideration at that time. Separately, as Ted mentioned, we have the board retreat coming up next week, and Power Ready and the future of that is particularly around asset ownership, is on the agenda for next week, and we're excited to talk to you about all of that. What we're thinking about as an alternate approach to this PPA model is the possibility of CPA owning the solar and storage facilities through engineering, procurement, and construction contracts. So we would contract with a vendor to design, build, and operate the facilities, and we would own those assets. The benefits of that is that we would have more control over the project economics, construction timelines. We'd in some ways be able to streamline some of the contracting processes with the member agencies. And we think that could potentially have benefits. But there's a whole different set of financial and operational and legal risks that come with asset ownership that we'll have to think about as well. So there's definitely some trade-offs between these different models, and we'll explore that in a lot more depth when we meet with you all again in a week. So hopefully you could hear some of that, and I'm happy to take questions.
Great. Thank you. So again, the future ownership, that has nothing to do with the ones that are already underway.
Yeah, completely separate.
That would just be for the next round of just, if we choose to do that, learning from experience.
Yeah, we're bringing forward the amendment to the existing contract so that we can complete these projects that are already in the queue, and then we would start with a fresh, potentially, if the board wants to, we could start with a different approach for round 2.
Yep. All right. Questions for Matt? Alex?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hey, Matt, how many of these contracts that we were expecting, like existing and in the future?
Well, so the current round we have 11. That's 11 sites across 8 different member agencies. In the future, that's really to be determined. We're still sifting through how many viable sites we have. And then once we have an understanding of the approach, then there's going to have to be a conversation about how much investment we want to make in this program for the next round, and what those, what the size of the sites is going to be, and the cost of the sites that we estimate is going to have to be a conversation about how many we actually go forward with. So that's a open future conversation.
Are we going to talk at the retreat maybe the possible goal, maybe to have all the 37 cities having one?
I think there'll be room for that conversation at the retreat.
All right, thank you.
I'll just note there that we've tried to start to doing that. You'll note that Ventura has 2 sites. County of Ventura has 2 sites. LA County has 3 sites. Those aren't all in unincorporated parts of the counties. So Ventura's is in, one is in unincorporated Ventura, but just outside of the Ojai city limits. The other is actually a fire station in Simi Valley. In LA County, there's one in unincorporated, one in Claremont, and one in Paramount. So some of it is also thinking about, one in each city, or one, doesn't necessarily mean the city would be the entity who we would contract with to place them.
All right. I see Robert next.
What's the difference between round 1 and round 2? Is it still going to be the same type of emergency backup generator? Or is there going to be any changes that you're looking for in round 2 Power Ready?
Yeah, in terms of the the kind of configuration and the backup power guarantee, fundamentally we're intending for those to be the same. The differences are really around how we structure the procurement, potentially, what kind of sites we consider, and that we're opening it up to sites that aren't necessarily owned by the member agencies. But in terms of the idea of providing solar and storage with backup for critical facilities, that's not going to change.
So you're still looking for large areas with big roofs and things like that for consideration?
Same kind of sites. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be that large of an area. We've looked at a number of different configurations, but that's fundamentally not different.
But still need to be kind of like an EOC type thing or a cooling center or something like that. That's the purpose of it, right?
Yeah, we've sort of broadly defined what we consider to be a critical community site, but yeah, community center could be fire station, a city hall. It's something that's going to provide a important community
Community benefit.
function during an outage.
So like a library that could serve as a cooling center or a okay, perfect.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, I see Rita next, and then I think there's a question in the CPA office, then Julian.
Yeah, I'm going to turn it over to Aaron. Had a quick update on the county projects.
Hi, folks. I'm Aaron Nordauer, the supervisor's deputy, also now an alternate for her here, if we haven't met before. I just wanted to, share both appreciation to CPA for working with us through the challenges with the LA County sites. It's been a frustratingly long experience, but that given that this is a kind of a different contracting method, but just, today, I think we had some promising news from county council about a path forward, and the supervisors very directly interested in making sure that this happens and doesn't slow things down. So just wanted to share that brief update, and I hope our peers who are still finishing this also are successful, so we can close out this phase. Thanks.
Thank you for the update. All right, is there a question in the CPA office?
Yeah, there is. Matt, my question is based upon all of the delays and things that are happening, what is the new timeline for any of these to be coming on board?
So what the developer is asking for is an extension of the guaranteed CID until the end of next year. But depending on the individual site, there's different dates, and hopeful that at least some of those will be on earlier in 2026.
Thank you.
Julian.
Well, thank you. Just so you know, I'm sitting here with one of our council members, Mary Wells, who is really interested in what we're doing, and unfortunately has lots of questions. But
That's good.
questions. Mary is a former member of the school board. Asked the question whether or not we have any currently or are able to have schools which apply to this program, and even though the schools are not the same entity, they're obviously they have separately elected boards and all the rest. Are they eligible?
So there's the potential for them to be eligible in round 2.
In round 2,
right? Which is we're considering interest now. So if there's a site that the school district has, if you want to, Julian, if you want to send us over a contact, we can get John Spector in touch with them. And
sure, we can certainly do that. We'll have the superintendent or one of his minions. Yeah, that's great. And sort of the same rules apply, whether it's on a school site or on a city site.
What we would be asking if it's not a city site, we would be asking the city council to officially nominate or designate the site, because we don't want just like an individual board member saying, hey, go work, take this from my city and go work with the nonprofit. We'd want it officially designated, but other than that, it would work the same.
And just a late breaking piece of information, I'm told our council did not get to this item Tuesday. I guess they're just overworked, certainly underpaid. But hopefully it'll be on their agenda on September 29th. That's not true. Is there Monday or Tuesday?
28th, I think it is.
The 30th is a Tuesday.
It's the 30th.
The 30th. Okay. More to come. Thank you.
And if I can just follow up on Julian's question, does it have to be public? Like schools, obviously public land, not city, not member agency, but does it have to be public? Are we looking at private at all? Is that
looking at nonprofit?
Nonprofit.
Yeah, so we wouldn't put it at like the Pepsi factory or something.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for that clarification. Alex.
Thank you, madam. Actually, Julian just raised some question for me about the schools because, for example, I know when I was on the school board in Hawthorne School District, we put all those parking structure with solar panels, right? So, and I know Lennox, that is non-incorporated area of LA County, also has done that. I think Manhattan Beach. So, how can we work with those existing solar panel structures with this power ready?
So I think there's I think so. I think if we have those, we should, you know, we kind of have to look at those on a case by case. So if you want to put us in touch with the folks related to that, we have technical support, a consultant in place that's doing technical assessments, and at very least, what we're able to do is provide the results of those technical assessments, even if we don't end up moving forward with CPA building something, and that can be valuable too.
All right, so yeah, I'll provide that on retreat.
Yeah, I'll note that one thing that it would be very hard to do it under the current PPA model, because a lot of those solar on schools in particular were done under PPAs.
Yeah.
And so when you try to add a battery, you're kind of pulling apart an existing contract. We might have a little bit more flexibility if we moved into the asset ownership model. But it's definitely come up before. What about the school or the park or that has the solar on the carport already?
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Matt on this item? Nothing? Is this a record-breaking meeting? Under an hour? Cedric's giving me the thumbs up. All right, I'm not seeing anything. So with that, I'll turn to committee member comments. Anything? Thank you, Matt, by the way. Thank you for
Thank you, and thanks for
the airport. And yes, we want to hear about all the information you glean from your trip.
And thank you for your patience with my technical difficulties.
Of course, of course. Safe travels. Okay, any committee member comments? Wow. All right. This is record breaking. And with that, I guess we can adjourn. Just another note that again, and we'll talk about it again and again, talk about the board meeting, but our regular board meeting will be October 16th, and this meeting will adjourn to the next XCOM meeting, which is going to be on October 23rd. So we're a little bit off a cycle, and then we go somewhat back to normal in November, right? So, all right, I show 2:18. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. See you on the 27th.
Okay, look forward to seeing you all.